Hey, guys. Woohoo!
I love it.
Great. We got lots of fans out there, huh?
That's fair, or at least pretend fans, but it's okay. I'll take them all shapes and sizes.
Well, she has. We were talking about, 'cause she's been in like every single show, but we'll get to that. But first, I have to tell you, I was a little afraid because watching UnREAL, I'm like, oh my God, I'm interviewing Quinn and she's gonna rip me apart. Like, I'm terrified.
No, because it's just a character I play on television.
Exactly, and I figured that out very fast.
I am completely not that person. But you know what's good is that at least I can have that perception so most people won't approach me on the street because they'll just think I'll yell at them or curse at them or something like that.
So what was it like for you to take on this character? I mean, she is ruthless, and she's a producer on a show called Everlasting, similar to The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. So, tell everyone a little bit about the show. And if you haven't watched it, that's your fault because it's amazing, so you better watch it. But yeah, give everyone a little background on your character in the show.
Okay, so I play Quinn, who's the executive producer, director of a reality show, which is called Everlasting. And the interesting thing about UnREAL is that it's two shows in one. So you have Everlasting, the reality show, and then you have the people behind the scenes who are making the show. So you get a taste of what happens in front of the camera, and then you get a taste of how it becomes that on the show. And Quinn is incredibly ruthless and honest and unfiltered, but you kind of have to be that way in a world where you're creating good television. And especially when you're dealing with situations where you are manipulating them to make them interesting. And if the people are not that interesting, well, my job is to do the opposite, like to show them as being interesting people or putting them in situations that might make them react or not be themselves. So, we want to label them and put them in a box and already make them be something that works for us. We don't care if it works for them. We only really only care about ourselves. Yeah. So that's fun. It's a fun character to play because Quinn can't care about those women and what I'm doing to them because otherwise I wouldn't do a good job.
There's one line, I think it was in the season premiere, that was, people, if you want bonuses, you need nudity, we need 911 calls, we need cat fights. So tell me about all these one-liners that you have to say, and are these scripted? Do you kind of wing them yourself?
Well, most of them are scripted. The writing on the show has been so strong and so full of life that whenever we do get to improv, it tends to be a little bit more of kind of the little quips and the little side notes that we can improv within the character. But definitely as the season went on, I felt a little bit more comfortable improving as Quinn. But improving as Quinn is dangerous because I'm talking at people and about people, and a lot of times I'd have to, when we said cut, I would have to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that was as Quinn, but if it's not on the page, then it might feel a little bit more personal. Whereas if it's on the page, like, oh, it was written that way, and I'm like, right, it was there. But if it's not there, then I'm like, I don't know, something just came over me, but it was funny, right?
Well, because I know the producer, Sarah Gertrude, or the creator, Sarah Gertrude Shapiro, recently told EW that, it's much about, the theme is butterfly people in the front, under the lights, and then there's these mole people behind the scenes that are, they want to take them down for good TV. So tell me about sitting down with the creators of the show and how they, told you about the show and what was supposed to happen and the theme, and is it based on real unscripted reality TV series?
Well, I will say that when I met with Sarah Gertrude Shapiro and Marty Noxon, Sarah had done a short that was called Sequin Raised, which you guys can watch on YouTube. It's amazing. And this show is based on that short. And yes, Sarah worked in reality television early on in her career, but this show is scripted in a way that she's kind of created this world within reality television. But all of it is not necessarily from her experiences, but setting a story of finding love, which is what they pitched to me, was this show really becomes about people's search for true love and the lengths that they will go to try and find it. And what is true love? You know, can it be created? Can it be manipulated? Is it an undying feeling in your gut that no matter how horrible that person is to you, you will still love them no matter what because you just have this connection? You know, but the creation of it on reality shows is what I think we are all so fascinated by. So when they talk to me about all of that and that we want these characters to be rich and have their own stories and we want to tell all the stories but from so many different points of view, which is setting it in a reality television world is fantastic because you have 25 women already and all of them have a story of why they're there and what they want from it. And for Quinn, being kind of the puppet master of all of those stories, I was kind of like, okay, what do I do? Where do I sign up? You know, and Quinn does get to be vulnerable as well. I mean, you can't be that hard and not have a heart. And she has a big heart. She's just learned to put a big bunch of armor on it. Yeah.
Because this is an interesting show because it's of course, a show about a show. So you have the cast or the people on the reality show, and then you have everyone behind the scenes who have their own stories and their own drama. How is that for you to kind of like, you're an actress playing a character on a scripted show about an unscripted show? It's very complicated. I don't know how you dove into that one.
Well, I will tell you, the first couple of days shooting, we were all so confused. I mean, I was talking to extras because I thought they were really crew people, but they weren't really crew people. They were extras playing crew people. You had the real crew person and then the extra standing next to each other, and I mean, I couldn't tell anybody apart. So, and there were so many times when they were rolling, and I didn't even start acting because I was like, there's a light in the shot. There's no way we're rolling. There's this giant light in the shot, and they're like, no, that's how we're doing it. It's behind the scenes. And I was like, oh, right. So, like, real cameramen were actually in the shot, like doing dolly moves, but none of you would know who's real or who's not real. So it was really just our reaction to, like, if you see a real cameraman, don't be like, oh, what are you? Oh, you're not. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna look over here. You know what I mean? But it's fun. I mean, it's definitely one of the greatest casts I've ever worked with. It's a huge cast because it goes beyond just the people on the show. It's all the people behind the show, and all of us are working together. And there are some shots that are one single shot where, like, we walk out of a door, we go on the balcony, we have to walk through a pathway, we have to get out into and there's so many people at play that's where it got to be so much fun because you were interacting with the real PAs and then the extras, and you just had to never give away who was who and who was real and why are you in my shot and you're not supposed, who, what, okay. And so it was so much fun. And I mean, it's just fun to, like, yell at people at the top of your lungs in the middle of the night and get away with it, you know?
Well, it must be interesting because you're playing the people who are the crew. So you're like, is this what people say about me when I'm acting on screen? Are they behind the scenes being like, oh my God, tell her to do this?
That's true.
Because the terminology is really correct on the show with how it is on a TV set. You know, a lot of my friends, my fiancés, we were watching the show and they were like, this show is incredible. It really captures, like, the true essence of what it's like to be on this kind of show.
Well, and that's why I was saying, like, you don't have to like reality television. You don't even have to have ever watched it. It's a story behind the scenes of making a television show. If you want to look at it like that, it just happens to be reality TV because it's so rich and there's so many storylines that are happening beneath all of the, you know, the stuff that you see on television. And I think people were aware of it, and we've just kind of opened it up just a little bit more. Yeah.
Of course, I have to ask, are you a fan of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette series? Do you watch it, or did you watch it to prepare for taking on the role of Quinn?
Okay. I had maybe seen those shows once or twice, but it just wasn't my thing. I just didn't watch it. And but when I did get the part, I remember reading the scripts, and I was reading the first script, because we only get 2 scripts at a time when we shoot it. So, and we did the pilot, the first episode first. So we got that one script. And I remember reading that script, and I was so confused. And I thought, what is happening? Who are these people? What is this really what's going on those shows? And just my character alone, for selfish reasons, I was like, I can't call people these names. I can't. And then, so I did. I watched then like a season or two of these dating shows. And I mean, I think people on the plane thought it was crazy because I would watch the show and I would be like this the whole time. And I couldn't even lift my jaw because I was like, I don't understand what is happening. And it's been going on for years. And so it blew my mind. But then that was all I needed to watch because I got it.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the people who watch UnREAL are fans of The Bachelor or reality shows because, you know, we're addicted to these shows and we think it's real life. And then we watch your show and we're like, oh, it's not real life. It's all scripted. At least I was. I was like, is this what really happens? Oh, my God. Caitlin Bristow doesn't really love Sean? Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, look at the odds. How many of those people have actually stayed together? I think like 3 couples?
4
out
or
of
5, yeah.
18 seasons? So, by the way, your odds are just as good in the regular world, you know? Right? I mean, as opposed to putting yourself in front of the camera and getting your whole life exposed. But look, I also think our show is not really, we're not trying to take down reality television. It's just a really cool world to set this kind of storyline about people searching for love. And I think, if anything, it's going to draw people back to reality television. Because I know for me, if I watch it now, I watch it with such a different eye. And it also makes you feel a little bit more for the contestants than I think you might have felt before.
And it's cool that A&E and Lifetime get the show on their network because it's not on an ABC or CBS, and it's amazing writing and incredible work by all of you actors. So how does it feel to be working with Lifetime on this? And I know you guys just got a 2nd season, so that's really great news.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I have to say, I think the success of this show is because it's on Lifetime. Because had it been on an HBO or a Netflix or Amazon or any of those for that matter, I don't know if it would have been, you know, dark enough or met what their standards are when you watch a show like that. Whereas with Lifetime, people were not expecting it. It was so unexpected coming out of Lifetime that I think that it was shocking people in ways that they didn't anticipate. And that, to me, is why I think it was such a great place. It's not the channel for women anymore. Everybody's rebranding themselves. They wanted this show in particular to rebrand them. So they have been so unbelievably supportive in trying to get the message out there. You know, I mean, we're naked on billboards. So
she's really naked in that, too. We figured that out. It's not photoshopped. You look amazing.
And so I think because of that, I think the only thing that's lacking is that people want to binge it. They want to watch it all in one sitting. And I get that. And I'm living in that world, too, now, where I want to watch everything all at once. Like, why not? If you have a night, just get it all done. But I also kind of like that maybe it's going to bring back the water cooler conversations where people can't get ahead of anybody. And that's kind of cool. I like that. I like people to be able to wake up in the morning and say, oh my, who watched it? Because we have to talk about it and not feel like somebody else has seen more than them. If they're just behind, that's their own fault. But, you know. So I think Lifetime was actually the perfect place for it. And you know, the reviews alone have shown that it's at the perfect network just because people are saying, you know, wow, good for you, Lifetime. Why didn't someone do this sooner? Yeah.
So what will season 2, is it going to be a different show? Or is it going to continue with Everlasting? Because this could kind of be like one of those docuseries things when you change, you know, what reality show you're doing. Do you know any insight into that?
I know a little bit. And the little bit that I know is obviously it will not be the same cast on the reality show. It will always be Everlasting, the reality show, but it'll be whatever genre can fit under that title. So it could be a woman and 25 men, possibly. I don't know. It could be a variation on that. It could be maybe a guy and a girl vying for a guy. I don't know. I mean, you know, just anything that kind of can be everlasting, whatever that might be. But it is exciting that you can rotate this cast. And so the ones that will come back are the producers that are behind the scenes. and then everything else will rotate. So it's kind of like if you didn't like somebody, within the first 5 episodes, you're like, oh, they'll be gone anyways. So that's kind of nice. I feel like that bodes well. I mean, not for the person you don't like, but I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, any Bachelor fans out there, maybe there'll be an everlasting in paradise or things like that. That could be juicy, huh?
See?
So you mentioned
all the ideas are swirling around.
See, in my head. So you mentioned Netflix, and of course you were on House of Cards. I don't know if there's any House of Cards fans out there. And so you touched on that a little bit, how that's a streaming, people binge watch that show. It comes out and it's...
Well, it was the first one of its kind, by the way, which is crazy. That was only 3 years ago, you guys, that we started binge watching.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what was that like to be a part of a show like that?
Again, when we were in it, we had no idea what was going to happen. My favorite memory is telling people that I had gotten this show that was on Netflix. And the first look I would get was, oh, so it's not on a network. It's not even cable. What is that? I said, I don't. They're gonna start streaming. It's gonna be streaming, and you're gonna be able to see it all at once. And everyone was like, so I can't get a CD in the mail. I don't understand. I was like, I don't understand either. I didn't, none of us we didn't get what streaming was. At that time, all of us were so confused, but we were like, okay, this is an amazing cast. This is an incredible script. We don't know what's going to happen. And I remember, we all had to join Twitter. We all had to join social media to just talk about the show, to make sure that people were going to watch it. And I couldn't even say on Twitter, I said, I don't know how you're going to watch it, but when it comes out, good luck. I was just like, so, that was amazing to just be a part of that show. It blows my mind that I'm on that show. I would watch it and I'd be so into the show, and then I would pop up on the screen and I would say, oh Lord, I'm on this show? It was just one of those things where it was like, how did I get here? I don't know, but I'm very, very grateful for it.
Now Netflix is like the thing. If you can't binge watch, you're like, oh, I have to wait a week to watch, So it's not even a network, but it is the place to be for a TV show. But you were on HBO
smart.
as well, in Entourage as Dana Gordon, which I'm sure is a role that everyone remembers.
I know, Dana Gordon is definitely the character that I get recognized for the most.
And Quinn's in this industry too. You're playing these powerhouse women in the film and television industry. What's that like for you to kind of take on Quinn? Have you brought any Dana Gordon to it at all, or?
Quinn is kind of otherworldly, in my opinion. She goes beyond any limitations that I ever thought were possible that a character could do and get away with it, really. But I think anytime I play a strong female character, there's going to be comparisons. It's kind of what I'm now doing, I guess. I've been put into that box, and it's okay. I love it. It's kind of an amazing box to be in. But I wanted Quinn to supersede all of those women. And, to be honest, Dana Gordon was recurring. You never really got to see a lot of her background. Janine on House of Cards, I was also recurring. You didn't really get to see a lot of her. So Quinn, to me, was the chance to be able to show these strong women and why they become the way they become, the struggles they have, their vulnerabilities. And that, to me, was so exciting to be able to unearth that, because I've never been able to do that much on any other shows. I mean, unless I was terrified for my life and I took off to Ithaca. But but other than that, Quinn is so. She terrifies me a little bit. So I had to really kind of understand where she came from in order to make sure that she was relatable.
So what was it like coming back too for Entourage the movie and seeing all those guys again? Was it like a field trip?
It was like the best reunion, because it was only the people you want to see at a reunion. None of those other people where you're like, oh, you're here. Great. Hi. Yeah. So that was amazing. And I think for us, when we were all at the table read for the movie, it was also that, oh, hi, are we really doing this? This is really happening. And it was amazing. It was as if we had never left. And even though we hadn't seen each other in 2 years, it was just the same, like, amazing group of people. And I'm so glad that Dana Gordon had a place in the movie, because that was also kind of a crazy thing. When everybody was talking about the movie, it was like, who's going to be in the movie? Did your character make it in the movie? Are you going to be in the movie? And I was like, I don't know. I hope so. So I was very excited that, she superseded. She made it into the film. But it was just so much fun. That was just like being at camp.
Well, it was so cool because backstage you just mentioned that you saw your old episode of Beverly Hills 90210. You want to tell everyone what you were doing in that episode?
I think I was from a rival school, and I was at their prom or something. You guys, it was so long ago, I didn't even remember it until somebody posted it on social media. Thank you, social media. They find everything. And they posted a picture, and I was like, that's me, I forgot I did that show. I remember I was an all leopard. It was like an all leopard outfit. I was from a rival school, and I wasn't very nice. I said something mean to Kelly Kapowski. Is that the right show?
No.
That's Saved by the Bell. You guys,
you were
that's
probably
amazing.
on that show too, weren't you?
I said something mean to somebody that was on that show, and I was like, I'm going to get your boyfriend or something. I'm not quite sure. But
Kelly Kapowski.
Kelly Kapowski from a different series.
So speaking of series, so you've been on Grey's Anatomy, Boston Legal, you've been on House of Cards, Entourage. What is one show that you would die to be on or even cameo on?
There's quite a few. I really wish I was in that first season of True Detective. So that was television like I have never seen before. That was some of the most incredible television I've ever seen. Something that's on right now that I would love to be on.
Have you watched True Detective 2? Are you not feeling
I
it as
haven't
much?
begun.
Yeah.
I haven't even started. You can binge that show too, right?
Yeah,
Oh no, can you or can you not?
No, it's on HBO, so it's once a week.
You want to know what's so funny? I really want to be on The Daily Show before Jon Stewart leaves.
Yeah.
That's like, I know that's not an acting thing, but I can't even, I watch that show religiously. And the idea that he's not going to be there anymore, it makes me cry. I'm going to do a plea. I'm going to cry. No.
Jon Stewart.
But, I come from comedy. So to go back and be on a comedy would be very exciting for me. And in that sense, it would be any of them. Anyone that wants to take me back on a comedy? Anyone? Which camera should I do that to?
Well, I want to open it up to you guys out there. So raise your hands if you want to. Oh, yeah. Constance, a question. Oh, we got here.
Hi. Hey.
Oh, hi.
What's up? Okay, so I'm someone who loves reality TV, and I love this show, and I think that you totally can love both. But I'm curious what people in the reality TV community, or even people that work for The Bachelor, considering that some of the showrunners have worked there before, what do they think about the show, and do they feel like it throws off their whole game?
I can tell you that the feedback has been all positive. We've had past bachelors, past bachelorettes. Snooki is a huge fan. I mean, loves the show so much and can't believe what we're getting away with on television. They've all been super positive and are saying, oh my gosh, that happened to me, or oh, I can't believe you guys are telling that story, and this is amazing, and thank you so much. And I had one past bachelorette actually come up to me and say, as long as the girls on the show are constantly drinking alcohol, you've done it right. And I was like, wow, okay.
Now I'm like, who was that?
Yeah. So I don't think, like I said before, I actually think that we might be drawing more attention to the reality television world. And like I said, we're not setting out to tear it down. It's just an incredible world to set all of these people and all of these personalities and the struggles. That nobody's perfect. And this show kind of shows you that.
Who else had their hand up? Oh, right here in the middle.
Hello, Constance.
Hello.
Lay. So, Constance, I'm curious for you. What's the most rewarding part of being an actor? Is it bringing this strong female character to life, or maybe it's emotions that you get from acting? And also the second part of the question is, can you elaborate a little more on those awkward improv moments? Because it got my curiosity too.
What do I enjoy most about being an actor? I would definitely say it is being able to put characters up on a screen that will speak to people in different ways and bring out emotions that they might not have been aware of existed within themselves. Because a lot of times, you know, when we are watching characters on the screen, it makes us realize there's something similar in ourselves. And that, for me, was always very exciting. I like to escape inside of a character and hope that there's something within what I'm doing that someone will relate to and will touch a part of them, whether that's laughter, whether that's sorrow, whether that's grief, whatever. And, you know, playing so many different characters and the stronger women that I do play, you know, representing that. I love representing the people in the workplace that you do not get to see very often, that are not in front of the camera, the people behind the camera, the people behind the men, the people who are making the decisions that people don't take the pictures of on the red carpet. You know, those, I like representing the underdog 100% and showing that they are so much more than that. So it has two parts that I like to do about it. And as far as the improv moments, yeah, I mean, my improv moments definitely are far more inappropriate because I do a lot of cussing. And, you know, you're only allowed to have so many cuss words and so much inappropriate language, especially on Lifetime. So we had to pick and choose. You know, like I fought for the word pussy really hard.
I was gonna say that.
Am I allowed to say that on AOL? But I did. You know, they wanted me to say hoo-ha. And I said, I'm sorry. Quinn would never say hoo-ha. I was like, I would say vagina over hoo-ha, okay? So let's all just pick. What would you rather have, pussy or vagina? I've just blown AOL out of the water with both of those words within 1 minute.
I love it.
So yeah, mine are just always more inappropriate, and I always hope that I get away with something. But I did improv that line right after I say pussy, when everybody looks at me, and I said, what? You guys act like you've never heard that word before. And I think it helped that moment because it was a moment where everyone was like, oh God, what did she just say? You know?
It's probably good for the viewers at home, too, because we felt the same way.
Yeah, we want to make the viewers at home comfortable.
Yes. In their own living rooms.
I saw time for two more questions.
Okay, cool.
Hi. I was wondering, I heard you were a gymnast. I don't know when that was exactly. And if that's
yesterday?
True, yeah. And if it is true, can you tell us about it and have you been able to use that discipline in your acting career?
Interesting question. Yes, I was training for the Olympics in gymnastics when I was in 4th and 5th grade. I was very tiny. And it was like 18 hours a day, and I had no life. I had no friends. And I think I lasted about 6 months. And then I said to my mom, I really like people, and I don't like working out. So I'm pretty sure I don't want to do this anymore. And so I did integrate gymnastics into, my journey when I figured out I wanted to be an actor. I realized I like to be in front of people, but I just never liked wearing short shorts or having to work out or anything having to do with that kind of stuff. So I integrated from gymnastics to dance to track to then auditioning for a part in Grease and as a cheerleader. And then from there, I was like, oh, I like being in front of people, but clothed. Yeah. Cut to my future. But I'd say as far as how it's helped discipline my acting, not so much. I just don't like yoga anymore because that reminds me of gymnastics training.
Flashbacks?
Yeah, flashbacks. Can't do yoga now. No.
We have one more question over here.
Hey, Constance, thanks so much for being here today. I loved your appearance on WTF recently. I just want to know if you could talk about your experience doing that.
That was amazing. That's Mark Maron's podcast, if those of you who might not know. I had done Mark Maron's show, and I played his girlfriend, and I was such a huge fan of his. And I said, well, this is great and all that I'm on your show, but I actually really just want to be on your podcast. You know, it was so amazing. I mean, he's such a great interviewer, and he and I got to talk about, I mean, we went into memories that I didn't even remember I had in my brain, but he just kind of pulls them out. And we just talked like we were friends. And it was so easy and so much fun, you know, and I thought, oh, this is great. I'm going to be your best interview ever. And then cut to a week later, Obama's on his podcast. I was like, my timing is perfect. It's like, Obama. Oh, and there's Constance Zimmer was on the podcast down here, way down here. But it was great. He's just such a giving, kind soul. And the interview was great because he's so honest. He's like, look, I haven't watched anything you've been on. I only saw you on my show. And I was like, oh, she's pretty good. You know, yeah. But that's great because then it opened up this whole conversation of things that I don't ever talk about with people.
Well, you know what? You could be my number one Obama of my interviews, don't you think? Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
And everyone needs to watch UnREAL. I love it.